Okay, this is gonna be a little different. This ain't a review or me talking about my problems or update. It's me talking about a trilogy that I'm curious of what happened to this trilogy. It's the Dark Knight trilogy. Now, we know what happened, what did they do to accomplish this trilogy? No, I'm talking about the number one. What did they do to fuck up this trilogy? And well, there are two in the Dark Knight trilogy. That's Batman Begins and The Dark Knight Rises. That are perfectly fine, three solid films. However, then you get to the Dark Knight film, and the film's a mixed bag. And it's not really unlike the other two, where it feels like a character study / mythology, and and also it feels more. Well, the other two feel like a character study of Batman / Bruce Wayne have. This somehow doesn't feel at all like that. I don't know why, but I wonder what happened, and I had to check to see which Batman movie did Christopher Nolan had the least control, and that's who made these films. These films, this not so good. It's actually the worst Batman film since Batman and Robin, and also my worst thing Batman has come up with, and comic or cartoon or movies or anything. Though, yeah, what I'm saying is this is shit compared to everything else Batman has come up with. So, don't watch that. Don't watch this. Watch, if you really want to treat yourself, watch these two things. Batman Begins and The Dark Knight Rises. Because these, before the Batman v Superman came out, these are my two favorite Batman films for live adaptations, and still are. So the Dark Knight film, I cannot say the same thing. This is actually my least favorite Batman live adaptation at all. I think I like the film, but I'm going to take a bullet for it. At all. The other two, I would really put my life on the line. That's love. I mean, the pacing is just garbage. And the character study of Batman is garbage, but it makes up with creative explosions and top-notch action scenes, but that's all it really has going for it. Other than that, it's hollow and feels empty. So if you want if explosions and cool action scenes is not enough to satisfy you at all, and there's enough reason for you to hate a film like a Michael Bay film. Well, this is actually stupider than Michael Bay film. A lot. So, you might want to just skip this and go with these two, Batman Begins and Dark Knight Rises, because these are excellent character studies of Batman and the Bruce Wayne have. Now, I found out that the 2008 film called The Dark Knight, where the Joker is the villain, that film has least of creative control by Nolan, and that he had a lot more free control with the other two, the third one and the first one. The sequel is The Dark Knight, in case you're wondering in case you've never seen the Dark Knight trilogy. I gotta say, it's not worth seeing the entire trilogy, like at all, but it is worth seeing these two gems of the trilogy, which is Batman Begins and The Dark Knight Rises. Gems means really, really good, and they're really underappreciated. I feel like, well, The Dark Knight is just way too much appreciated for the piece of garbage it is. Well, I mean, the pacing is awful, and this film, this is the longest film in the franchise is The Dark Knight Rises. The shorter film is The Batman Begins, and somewhere in between of the time run is this. But this feels like it's the longest, I mean the ridiculous longest in a Batman film ever. It feels like it's even longer than that 6-hour Batman film called Batman The Dark Knight Returns, the deluxe edition. where it combines 2 movies into one, and it makes it a little over 6 hours. And that film feels incredibly short to this. And this film's only like around, this film's like only 153 minutes long. And this is definitely not worth your time, unless you're just curious. Like, is it bad? Is it good? It's not. This is average. But you can't, I don't want average from Batman. I just want good. As I want always more above average because I'm a huge Batman fan. He's my favorite character. I know what the character's capable of when it comes to complex storytelling. And he is a very tragic, in the comics, he was a very tragic, complex character. And that film, The Dark Knight, doesn't at all highlight the complex things that the character's capable of. It's just boom, boom, boom. Explosions. People talking. The Joker talking about his diabolical plan and laughing occasionally and occasionally smiling while occasionally telling a joke. It's just, and the joke is this awfulness, and he is the worst Joker since Jared Leto. A lot worse than Jared Leto's Joker. And I know nobody really likes Jared Leto's Joker. I mean, I like him, but I agree he's not great as the Joker ever was. He never was. But I'm just saying the Jared Leto's Joker has more flavor than Heath Ledger. He turned the Joker one of the most legendary villains in history and made him a generic bad guy. And everything about this film is so predictable. You know what's going to happen. You know how it's going to turn out. You know, when I say everything's predictable, I mean everything. You can pinpoint, you can predict everything what's going to happen. Oh, I saw that happen. Saw that happen. Oh, Batman saw that happen. What, the Joker outsmarts Batman? Oh, I saw that happen. Wait, Two-Face is into this? And he's going to go nuts? And on a rampage? Saw that happening. And I told you everything that happens in the Dark Knight. Oh, Batman's going to take the blame? Saw that happening. Oh, Jim Gordon giving a speech for Ken, saw that happening when Batman was running off. It's like, and these aren't even like clever decisions. They're some bland and forgettable. It did not leave a good impression on me. And it was a pretty mediocre film first time. And a pretty mediocre film. Now it's my, I hate to say this. I really hate to say it. But it's the worst comic book adaptation I have ever seen based off of a graphic novel or a comic. Because this is based off of Batman The Long Halloween, which is considered by many Batman fans, and including myself, one of the greatest Batman stories you could tell. And the other two is based off Batman The Dark Knight Returns, and the other one is Batman Begins. It's based off of Batman Year One, and all 3 of those graphic novels were created by Frank Miller. And it's not crazy Frank Miller, it's actually well-talented Frank Miller, which he has become a little senile in his old age. Oh boy, and it's sad. It doesn't even give, this has the least to do with its comic book counterpart, as in the story, of what the story's about, and what the story's about is Batman The Long Halloween. This doesn't capture what the point is about. It just turns into a general action flick. Now, in case you're curious what The Long Halloween is and what the other 2 are about, I'm going to tell you, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you in order. Batman Begins is based off Batman Year One. Frank Miller comic. That's a graphic novel. And this and also Batman Year One tells a realistic, grounded story that we're not used to for a Batman origin story, and it does it with subtlety and style. And that whole scene where Batman communicates with the Bat in this film by saying sonar frequency, sonar, some sort of sonar wave to call the bats. That was kind of and really ripped out the page of the comic that's based off of the Batman Year One comic. But instead, the sonar wave is and the only reason why he does it is because not because he doesn't have, it's because he doesn't have anything else, and he's all out wing tech, and all he's got is what's left in his utility belt, and all he got is a sonar wave, so he calls the bats for backup. And the Batman Begins, he does it as a diversion to get rid of the cops so he can secure his best friend Rachel, which is also his soulmate, childhood soulmate, and his childhood best friend. And well, now let's get to the one reason why I made the show, The Dark Knight. The most, oh my god, shit you could come up with a Batman story. The most lazy, uninspiring shit you can come up with a Batman story ever. Now this is based off of Batman The Long Halloween by Frank Mills, is also a graphic novel. You see, now the point of that, the story of that, is that it's Batman trying to figure out who's the killer, who's the mastermind, who's pulling all the strings, and none of this, and he questions all of his villains and his entire rogues gallery, including the Calendar Man. Turns out the guy who's been pulling on the string gets away and burns all the evidence, and that was the Calendar Man. And let's see, there's a little bit of a twist. The Calendar Man is narrating to himself, saying in time, years go by, but no one will know who's really the master. So, and this is when he's burning all of the evidence that's in his cell that he has on him, while he's locked up in Arkham Asylum throughout the entire comic. Now, that's a very interesting story. So now, and the point of that is that Batman loses. He loses bad because he could catch everybody except the mastermind behind that's been toying with Batman throughout this entire comic. And he just gets away clean free. And because Batman never figured it out. Because they have a year to solve the case, and Batman runs out of time, and he just goes on with his regular doing other cases because he lost. This Dark Knight doesn't incorporate any of that story element. So it's just talking like it's talking about it's just some talking in action and some more talking in action, rinse, recycle, repeat, and Batman wins the day by not letting the Joker win, by taking the blame for Harley's crimes. And that sounds not even interesting at all. I'm not interested in that at all. And the slow pacing, that's so painful to watch. Makes it so painful to watch. The pacing is balls to the wall slow. It is testing my patience. I have never had a film test my patience more than The Dark Knight. And I'm counting Avatar: The Last Airbender movie by M. Night Shyamalan. Yes, that's the only thing that's better. That's the only good. That's the only thing that'll give Avatar: The Last Airbender movie titled This: The Last Airbender, and it's by M. Night Shyamalan. The pacing of that film is tremendously better compared to The Dark Knight. I shit you not. That's the only good thing I'm say about it, and I almost threw up in my mouth because I hate the comment films that I hate. And so that's where the Dark Knight trilogy failed, as in fucked up, as in shit the bed, as in screwed up. The story is barely interesting. When I say barely, I mean very little of it is interesting. And there are pieces in there, but those are just mostly just action things that are interesting, and nothing story-wise that is interesting. And I just think people are blowing out of the water, saying that this is the Batman film we all dreamed of. Yeah, when it's really the Batman film of my fucking nightmare and all of our nightmares. Because it's not complex, it's not deep, it's not character study of Batman, and it's not even an interesting story that's unique, or tells in a unique batshit way. Period. Now, this is The Dark Knight Rises. This is awesome like Batman Begins. A little more awesome than Batman Begins. It's my favorite trilogy in the Nolan trilogy. It's my favorite movie in the Nolan trilogy, I meant to say, not my favorite trilogy in the Nolan trilogy. Okay? I correct myself. And this is based off of the Frank Miller comic that's also a graphic novel called Batman The Dark Knight Returns. And all of these comics, except for Batman Long Halloween, have been turned to animated films by DC and kick ass. The comic that's based off of, and also the movie, is about a Batman that's out of time and has lost his sense of purpose and doesn't know his place in the world. But then when he hears the call, he hears he's Negan, he answers the call and puts on the suit one last time, no matter the cost, while he's running or if he's not. Physically. His body has aged. He's not in good shape as he used to be. Therefore, he's a lot slower. So he has to rely more on his brain power and his gadgets and his resources. So, and he is willing to put his life on the line, no matter the cost, as long as he saves the world, saves Gotham. And he, in the comic that is based off of the Batman The Dark Knight Returns, and also the movie called The Dark Knight Rises, he does put his life on the line. Well, he puts his life on the line by faking his death in the comics, by going toe-to-toe with Superman. And beats Superman with his latest attack, because he sees Superman as a threat to Gotham, and that Superman's just in his way, and he beats Superman and tells it because he wants Superman to stay off his way for him running out. And he has a heart attack, but it turns out that was a fake heart attack because he took this pill that in 1 hour, which stops his heart. Now, he also fakes his pill in the movie, his death in the movie, by not taking a pill, by letting an explosion go off and him pressing the injector button and the autopilot to let everyone's to say Gotham as the nuclear explosion is about to go off, and he sends the nuclear explosion out of Gotham, only to reveal that he's not out of the game because he fixed the bat symbol. And in the comic that is based off of called Batman The Dark Knight Returns, not Rises, Returns, is that he's going to train an army of Batman made out of that he's going to train an army of Batman for the future, for when he's gone, so that they can take on the mantle, and that Gotham can always be protected, and there will always be needed of Batman. Now, in the movie, The Dark Knight Rises, he decides to open up the Batcave for this guy called Robin. Yes, it is Dick Grayson, but his legal name is Robin, which is kind of stupid. But, so we don't know if he's going to become Batman's partner or the next Batman, because it leaves us on a very confusing note. But, yes, both of these two, Batman Begins and The Dark Knight Rises, are phenomenal movies. And before Logan came out, I thought the Batman movie called The Dark Knight Rises was the best comic book movie you could based off of a specific story in a character's life, until Logan came out. And that's it.